Hi, I'm Nicole, Tetreault, a Caltech alumni and a Chang Prize recipient. I'm creating Beyond the Cell, a program and a nonprofit designed to helping incarcerated and post-incarcerated women by teaching them neuroscience, meditation, and expressive writing.
Today we will explore our anxiety and stress response, understanding and identifying our default stress state, calming our nervous system with breath and meditation, identifying resources and safety, practicing the loving kindness meditation to cultivate compassion through challenging times, and liberation through artistic expression in daily life.
In the response to what we're dealing with, this national pandemic, I decided to offer my meditation practices to the Caltech community to help recenter and balance our nervous systems collectively. Now that we are approaching this global pandemic together, this is the first time in history, in our lifetime, that the entire world has been experiencing such turmoil and anxiety together. It's now time for us to shift our attention and find ways that we can repair and calm our nervous system. In particular, with the continuous influx of information and changing information, we may be worried about our families, our communities, and the world as a whole, which can cause us to go into feelings of stress, anxiety, panic, and fear. When we become in these modes, we're in our very primal brain processing, and in that fear response, our sympathetic nervous system takes over, where our higher order thinking is really offline. One way that we can really begin to balance our nervous system is by simply using meditative practices. And in particular, we know that each of us has our very own nervous system response. When we feel we're under threat, especially with a silent and invisible threat, we go into the ruminating mind and we can begin to worry even more. Our nervous system can either go into fight, flight, freeze, or flop. That is basically two different modes. When you're in a fight or flight state of mind, basically your brain is going nonstop and your entire physiology is moving. You can't sort of get out of that. You have this extra energy that needs to be dealt with. And in particular, one simple way that you can do that is by getting out and exercising. A second piece is when you're in the flop, the freeze and flop mode, basically you're demotivated and you're kind of flopped over, unable to kind of really respond to what's happening in your environment. And importantly, most recently I was talking to one of my colleagues. She described that she's now working 15-hour days. I have another colleague who's struggling to even get out of bed. And so these kind of reactions are very normal to what we're dealing with. And it has to do particularly with each of our own nervous system responses. That each of us has a primal nervous system response. Often when we're greeted with fear and anxiety, we fall in either to fight, flight, freeze, or flop. And it's important for you to recognize your primary mode. For me, my sympathetic activation takes over and I become very physical. I need to move and I need to work. And so it's very important in your households if you can help understand your primary stress response as well as the people you're cohabitating with. That'll help with each of you kind of working through kind of energetic shifts you're each experiencing. Additionally, as I described that my particular default mode is in the fleeing for a very particular state when I've been in actual experiences in the wild with bears and with sharks, I flee. And in particular, when I flee, my body needs to get that energy out, and it's telling my story that I need to basically get to safety. Each of the responses are really keen on getting somebody into a safety mode. And in particular, one can really kind of travel through each of the experiences. That one day you may feel completely in sympathetic overdrive where you're moving nonstop, and in other modes you can kind of flop down and be a little bit more tuned out and withdrawn. And so it's really important to recognize first the state that you're in. And secondly, be able to help identify yours and your family members. And importantly, now that we've identified what our primary default stress state is, I'd like us now to shift our attention to finding ways that we can calm that nervous system. And in particular, one way we know that calms the nervous system is using guided meditation. Guided meditation has been shown to calm the nervous system and allow people to kind of have more equanimity. And in particular, it shifts the brain out of the primary emotional response, which happens in the limbic cortex, and it allows really the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex up here to be turned on and allow us to kind of be more in our essence and in ourselves and make those sound decisions. And know really what our true intuition is and allow for equanimity in our emotional states. And so what I'd like us to do is in this moment, identify and really ground our feet and sit in this moment because we're going to begin our meditation. And I'd like us to bring us into our awareness of our body. And I'd like us to breathe in for 1, 2, and breathe out for 1, 2, and breathe in for 1, 2, and really begin to settle into your position. Allow your body to find ease and comfort. And really, meditation can be done with your eyes open or closed. So I now invite you to close your eyes and settle. And if closing your eyes doesn't feel safe, it's okay to keep them slightly open and looking at the point of your nose. And now, as we're in this collective breath together, I'd like us to breathe in and exhale out deep. And breathe in again and exhale. And I'd like you to shift your awareness on your breath and notice where you feel the breath in your body as it goes through your nostrils, to your throat, to your chest, and then to your belly. And breathe and allow the breath to flow in and out, in and out. And I'd like you to shift your awareness to the breath flowing into your chest, right at your heart center. And I'd like you to place your hand, whichever hand feels comfortable to you, on your heart. And if your mind begins to drift at any moment, just bring it back to the breath. You're not a bad meditator. The mind is incessantly having thoughts. That's what it does. And so just breathe. And see if you can really shift into the awareness of the breath at your chest and allow that awareness as your breath rises and falls. And I'd like you to shift and see if you feel any tension inside your body at all. And if you have any tension, see if you can bring in a little bit more comfort and ease, a little softness to that area. And I'd like you now to imagine and visualize bringing the breath to the area of tension in your body. And imagine bringing in more space into any tension you have in the body, whether it's in the shoulders in the chest center, in the belly, in the hip. And just breathe. Now I'd like you to place your second hand on your belly and see if you now have found that you have the breath flowing a little bit deeper in your diaphragm, where you could feel it all the way past your ribs, going into your belly, and exhaling, and allow the breath to flow in and out. And as you breathe, I'd like you to repeat to yourself, I am safe. I am present. I am okay. Breathe. I am safe. I am present. I am okay. And exhale. And now I'd like you to just let go of controlling the mind on the breath and let the mind go where it's going to go. And I'd like you now to gently, ever so gently, shift your awareness back to your feet. Feel them in the ground. Feel yourself in this very present moment. And slowly begin bringing yourself back to the room by blinking your eyes open. And I want you slowly to center back. And I want you to know one of the most simple practices and the beginning practices of meditation is connecting to the breath. And that basically having 3 deep breaths allows for that parasympathetic nervous activation, the rest and digest, to kind of come online and calm the nervous system. And in that, you have basically an influx of positive neurochemicals like oxytocin and vasopressin, which are really your relaxation, and those are your pair bonding and your trust molecules happen when you have just that simple shift into 3 diaphragmic breaths. And when you really can allow that shifting in your awareness, you can identify in that moment that you can even self-soothe by paying attention to where you have tension in your body. That often we don't recognize when we're going through these experiences and carrying stress, that we feel moments of discomfort throughout our body. And those are signals that our body's trying to tell us to adjust our position, maybe get up from our computer chair, get up from the couch, as we're all in our homes right now. And being able to kind of shift our awareness and bring in more calm and more ease. You know, because when we get those moments of discomfort, you can float into pain, or you could float into something that allows for more ease. And so really identifying ways that we can bring more ease into our daily experience is very necessary right now. In addition, in a recent trauma training I took that I found was an invaluable exercise, is I learned an exercise that I like to share with you about really identifying resources. And a resource really is something that allows you to feel stable, it allows you to reorient yourself, and it allows you naturally to calm your nervous system. And these are things, that could be as simple, some of my really profound resources that I find work for me is simply having a nice cup of tea while I'm working, definitely taking long walks, Even though it's challenging, we're wearing these masks and covers as we do it. But really taking a walk and moving my body is one of my resources. And so I invite you to find what your resources are and what things do to calm your nervous system. If that's turning on classical music, reading scientific papers, whatever allows you to recenter your nervous system. It's a really important thing. I'd like to share with you a personal story. 2 weeks ago, I was lucky enough to see the lecture by Dr. Pamela Bjorkman, and she shared, she's a virologist, which is not something I am versed on at all, and she shared the latest science of what's happening with this pandemic. And for me, what I learned was science was such an invaluable resource, that recognizing that scientists are creating hope. As she mentioned in her lecture, there are 48 different trials that are going on right now. And I felt grateful for all the scientists that are doing this effort and this work to collectively help and heal. And more importantly, I think Dr. Bjorkman brought up the point that I found was so profound, is that often in science, we kind of dismiss basic science. And basic science, in this case, of studying the bat immune system is really something that can be life-saving for each of us. And so to really recognize that as scientists, that at Caltech, that really the group and the greatest dialogue and effort forward is really to move us in directions that lead us to a better future. And so even if productivity seems challenged in this moment for each of us, that your work and the work you're doing matters. And so keep going. And with that, I would like to really transition us to a final meditation to share with you. It's one of the most really original foundational meditations called the metta meditation. And it's metta is for a loving kindness meditation for us to really transition our thought process into a less reactive state and a more, being in a more attuned state. And in particular, what scientists found that when college students practice a loving kindness meditation for 30 days, that they basically felt more peace, but on top of it, they were able to better identify their emotions, and they were better equipped to anticipate somebody else's emotional state. And so I think really what we're learning is that, meditation really allows us to recenter our thought processes and shift our narratives and our dialogue that's going on. And as I mentioned earlier, really our emotions are meant to give us signals to change our reactions and our behaviors. And sometimes the action is to adjust our narrative around the emotional state. And so a metta meditation is by no means, something for positive affirmations, but it's actually intended to really send out good intentions and wishes. So I'd like us to shift our attention into the metta meditation. And I invite each of us to ground our feet, close our eyes, and breathe in for 1, 2, and breathe out. And I'd like you to shift your awareness now to somebody who just brings a smile on your face. Whether it's a pet, a family member, a lab mate, a colleague, a friend, somebody who's no longer here on Earth. And I'd like you to just bring them into your mind and visualize them. And I'd like you now to begin to repeat good intentions for them in your mind after me. May you be safe from inner and outer harm. May you be truly happy and deeply peaceful. May you live your life with ease. May you accept yourself completely as you are. May you be safe from inner and outer harm. May you be truly happy and deeply peaceful. May you live your life with ease. May you accept yourself completely as you are. And now I'd like you to shift your awareness to somebody who's in your community. You may not know them that well, but there's somebody you may have in the past walked by in the hallway. And bring them into your awareness and send them good intentions. May you be safe from inner and outer harm. May you be truly happy and deeply peaceful. May you live your life with ease. And may you accept yourself completely as you are. May you be truly happy and deeply peaceful. May you accept yourself completely as you are. And now I'd like you to shift your awareness to the entire globe, all beings on Earth. May you be safe from inner and outer harm. May you be truly happy and deeply peaceful. May you live your life with ease. May you accept yourself completely as you are. Again, for the entire globe. May you be safe from inner and outer harm. May you be truly happy and deeply peaceful. May you live your life with ease, and may you accept yourself completely as you are. And now I'd like you to shift your awareness to yourself. May I be safe from inner and outer harm. May I be truly happy and deeply peaceful. May I live with ease, and may I accept myself completely as I am in this very moment. May I be truly happy and deeply peaceful. May I live my life with ease. May I accept myself completely as I am in this moment. And breathe in. And place your hand on your heart. And exhale. I am safe. I am free. And gently begin to shift your awareness back to the room and notice how you feel. Well, my friends, my techers, I hope that this has provided a little bit of ease for you in this moment, that you found some resources within, ways to understand your internal nervous system. And before we end here, I'd like to just share a poem with you by Marie Howe. It's called What the Living Do. Johnny, the kitchen sink has been clogged for days. Some utensils probably fell down there. And the Drano won't work but smells dangerous. The crusty dishes have piled up. Waiting for the plumber I still haven't called. This is every day we spoke of. It is winter again, the sky is deep, headstrong blue, and the sunlight pours through. The living room windows open because the heat's on too high in here and I can't turn it off. For weeks now, driving or dropping a bag of groceries in the street, the braking. I've been thinking this is what the living do. And yesterday, hurrying along those wobbly bricks in Cambridge sidewalks, spilling my coffee down my sleeve. I thought it again and again later when buying a hairbrush. This is it. Parking, slamming the car door shut in the cold. What you called that, yearning? What you finally gave up. We want spring to come and we want winter to pass. We want whoever to call or not, a letter, a kiss. We want more and then more of it. But there are moments walking when I catch a glimpse of myself in the window glass and say, the window corner of the video store, I am gripped by a cherishing so deep. For my own blowing hair, chapped face, unbuttoned coat, that I am speechless. I am living. I remember you. And I think that speaks to what we're dealing with. We are living, we are thriving, and we are surviving, and we will get through this as a community together and stronger. And nobody is alone in this. So these times are going to bring up a lot for each of us. And know that I hope these practices of being able to breathe, express through art, and find some sort of ways that we can find care and resources for ourselves. So be well, be safe, and be healthy. Thank you.